Welcome to Evermore Love. Hey there, beautiful souls. Before we dive into today's heartwarming tale, I have some exciting news. We've just crossed the 1,000 subscriber milestone. Can you believe it? Your support means the world to us, and it's all because of you tuning in for these stories that remind us of love's magic. If you're new here or haven't hit that subscribe button yet, do it now. It's free, and you'll get notified for every new story that tugs at your heartstrings. And hey, if you're loving this already, stick around till the end for the full emotional ride. Let's make this journey together. Grab your cozy blanket, hit play, and let's watch this story unfold completely. You won't want to miss a single moment. Now, settle in. Here's my first bouquet in years. I remember the exact moment it happened, that rainy Tuesday afternoon in late autumn, when the world outside my apartment window blurred into a watercolor of grays and golds. The leaves on the maple tree across the street clung desperately to their branches, trembling in the wind like they knew winter was coming, and so did I. Another season alone. It had been 7 years since I'd felt the thrill of someone else's gaze lingering on me. 7 years since the last time a man had made my heart stutter like a skipped record. Life had a way of piling on after that. Divorce papers, a demanding job as a high school English teacher, and a daughter, Lily, who deserved every ounce of my energy. Romance. That was a dusty chapter in a book I'd shelved long ago. My days blurred into a rhythm of lesson plans, parent-teacher conferences, and bedtime stories whispered over Lily's freckled cheek. At 38 I wasn't old, but I felt like a relic, my closet full of sensible cardigans and my nights punctuated by the glow of my laptop screen, grading essays on The Great Gatsby, while sipping chamomile tea. Friends tried setting me up. Blind dates with accountants who droned on about spreadsheets or lawyers who checked their watches mid-sentence. But nothing stuck. "You're too guarded, Emma," my best friend Sarah would say over coffee, her eyes soft with concern. "Let someone in." I'd laugh it off, but deep down, the words stung like salt in an old wound. Guarded. Try shattered. My ex-husband Mark had promised forever, then shattered it with a younger colleague and a lease on a beach house I could never afford. Flowers. The last bouquet he'd given me wilted on the kitchen counter the day he left, petals curling brown like my hopes. That Tuesday, though, the universe had other plans. I was rushing through the doors of the daily grind, our town's cozy coffee shop with its mismatched armchairs and the scent of fresh espresso mingling with cinnamon scones. Rain dripped from my umbrella, pooling at my feet as I shook it out, my hair frizzing into a halo of chaos. Lily was at after-school art club, and I had exactly 45 minutes to grab a latte and review my notes for tomorrow's poetry unit. The line snaked toward the counter, a mix of college kids tapping on phones and retirees nursing their mugs like lifelines. That's when I saw him, or rather felt him. He was at the end of the line, tall and unhurried, with shoulders broad enough to carry the weight of the world, but eyes. Oh, those eyes, that crinkled at the corners like they held secrets worth sharing. His hair was dark, tousled from the rain, and he wore a wool coat that smelled faintly of sandalwood when he turned to hand me a napkin I'd dropped. "Rough day?" he asked, his voice low and warm, like the first sip of whiskey on a cold night. Blinked, caught off guard. "Just the usual storm," I replied, forcing a smile as I tucked the napkin into my pocket. Up close, he had a faint scar above his left eyebrow, the kind that told stories without words. We chatted as the line inched forward. Nothing deep, just the weather, the best way to beat the autumn chill. His name was Theo, a landscape architect who'd moved to town 6 months ago to redesign the old botanical gardens on the edge of the lake. "It's magical out there," he said, his hands gesturing animatedly. Paths winding through wildflowers, benches hidden in rose arbors. "You should come see it sometime." I laughed, a real one that bubbled up unexpectedly. Me. In a garden. I'd probably trample the tulips. But his invitation lingered like the aroma of his coffee. Bold, inviting, impossible to ignore. By the time I reached the counter, he'd paid for my latte. "On me," he said with a wink. "Consider it a welcome to the storm." I protested, but he was already gone, weaving through the door into the downpour, leaving me with a warmth in my chest that had nothing to do with the steam rising from my cup. That night, as I tucked Lily into bed, her 8-year-old imagination spinning tales of fairy queens and enchanted forests, I replayed the encounter in my mind. "Mommy, why do your cheeks look pink?" she asked, her blue eyes wide and knowing. I brushed it off with a kiss on her forehead. "Just the wind, bug." But sleep evaded me, my thoughts drifting to Theo's smile, the way his fingers brushed mine when he handed over that napkin. It was silly, I told myself. Fleeting moment. Yet, when I woke the next morning to a text from an unknown number, "Enjoyed our chat. Fancy a walk in the gardens this weekend. No trampled tulips required." Theo, my heart did that stutter again. Said yes. God help me, I said yes. Our first date was everything I hadn't realized I'd been craving. Simple, unpretentious, alive. The botanical gardens were a riot of color even in the cooling October air. Chrysanthemums in fiery oranges and deep burgundies nodding in the breeze, the path crunching under our boots like whispered secrets. Theo pointed out the hidden spots. A sundial half buried in ivy, a pond where koi fish darted like living jewels. He listened when I talked about Lily's latest drawing, a dragon with polka dot wings, and my love for Bronte novels, the way Jane Eyre made me believe in quiet strength. "You're like Jane," he said softly, pausing by a bench overlooking the lake. Fierce and kind all at once. I felt seen, truly seen, for the first time in years. But as the sun dipped low, painting the sky in strokes of pink and lavender, doubt crept in like the evening chill. "This is nice," I admitted, wrapping my scarf tighter. "But I'm complicated. Lily, the ex-drama. It's not fair to drag someone into that." Theo turned to me, his expression earnest, the scar above his eye catching the fading light. "Life's all complications, Emma. The beautiful ones are worth it." He reached for my hand, his thumb tracing gentle circles on my knuckles, and in that touch I felt the first crack in my walls. We met again the next week, this time for dinner at a little Italian place downtown, the kind with checkered tablecloths and candles flickering in Chianti bottles. Lily came too, she'd insisted, her curiosity piqued by my mystery friend. Theo won her over in minutes, folding a napkin into an origami frog that hopped across the table, croaking in a silly voice that had her giggling until her sides hurt. "You're fun," she declared, dipping her breadstick in marinara. "Mommy needs more fun." I blushed, but Theo just grinned, his foot nudging mine under the table, a secret promise. As the weeks unfolded, so did we. Autumn deepened, the air crisp with the scent of wood smoke and fallen leaves. We'd steal moments. A picnic by the lake where Theo sketched garden designs on napkins while I read aloud from Wuthering Heights, my voice weaving through the rustle of reeds. He'd surprise me with small things, a pressed leaf bookmark, a mug of hot cider after a long day. And the conversations. Oh, they delved deep. One night, under a blanket of stars on my balcony, he confessed his own scars. A fiancé lost to cancer 3 years prior, the way grief had hollowed him out until he poured himself into designing spaces that bloomed despite the frost. "I thought I'd never feel this again," he murmured, his arm around my shoulders. "Like the world's tilting back into place." Tears pricked my eyes. Me neither. In that vulnerability, our lips met, soft at first, tentative, then deepening with the hunger of two souls starved for connection. His kiss tasted of salt and starlight, his hands cradling my face like I was the rarest bloom in his garden. We pulled apart breathless, foreheads touching, and I knew this was real. Terrifyingly, beautifully real. But love, as I've learned, doesn't bloom without thorns. The challenges came swift and sharp. Mark reappeared one crisp November morning, phoning from his new life in California. "I want to see Lily more," he said, his voice polished but edged with entitlement. "And maybe us. For her sake." The words hit like a slap, dredging up old insecurities. Nights I'd cried myself to sleep, wondering if I was enough. I confided in Theo that evening, pacing my living room as Lily colored at the kitchen table. What if he's right? What if I'm just broken goods. Theo pulled me into his arms, his embrace steady as an ancient oak. You're not broken, Emma. You're a force, raising Lily alone, teaching kids to find poetry in pain. Mark doesn't get to rewrite that. But doubt festered. The next date I arrived late, distracted, snapping when he asked about my day. Sorry, I muttered, staring at my plate of pasta. I don't want to ruin this. He reached across the table, his eyes holding mine. You're not ruining anything. We're building together. Storms and all. That night he didn't kiss me goodbye. Instead, he left a single daisy on my doorstep the next morning, its petals soft yellow against the dew-kissed porch. Tucked in the stem was a note, for the woman who makes my world bloom. No rush, just us. Undid me. I cried then, raw, heaving sobs that shook my shoulders as I clutched that flower, the first in 7 years. Not a grand bouquet but a promise. Simple, steadfast. I called him that afternoon, voice thick. Thank you for seeing me. From there, the romance swelled like a symphony reaching crescendo. December brought snow, blanketing the town in hush, and with it, our first holiday together. Theo strung fairy lights around my apartment, turning it into a wonderland of twinkling warmth. Lily baked lopsided gingerbread men, and we danced in the kitchen to Nat King Cole, Theo spinning me until I laughed so hard tears froze on my lashes. On Christmas Eve, as Lily slept with visions of sugar plums, he led me to the balcony. The air was sharp, stars sharp as diamonds overhead. I have something for you, he said, his breath clouding in the cold. From behind his back he produced it, a bouquet. Not just any bouquet, but a masterpiece. Velvety red roses intertwined with evergreen sprigs and white lilies, their fragrance rich and heady like earth after rain. Dew-kissed and vibrant, tied with a satin ribbon that whispered against my fingers. My breath caught, hands trembling as I took it. 7 years. 7 long barren years since petals had graced my life. And here they were, alive and defiant against the winter chill. Theo! My voice broke, tears spilling hot down my cheeks. This wasn't just flowers. It was him, pouring his heart into every stem, every bloom a testament to patience, to the way he'd waited for my walls to crumble. He stepped closer, cupping my face, thumbs brushing away my tears. You deserve beauty every day, Emma. Not just in gardens, but here. His hand pressed to my heart. This is my vow, not grand gestures but steady ones. Through the rains, the doubts, the lily-sized chaos. I love you. The words hung between us, fragile as snowflakes, then settled deep in my soul. I love you too, I whispered, the admission freeing something wild and wondrous inside me. We kissed there under the stars, the bouquet crushed gently between us, petals brushing my skin like a lover's caress. In that moment I wasn't the guarded widow or the overworked mom. I was Emma, alive, blooming. Spring came eventually, as it always does, on few. There you have it, friends, the tender, twisting path of my first bouquet in years. If this story stirred something in your heart, warmed your soul, or made you believe in second chances, please hit that subscribe button for ever more love. We're here every week with more beautiful, original tales to inspire and uplift. Your likes, comments, and shares keep the magic alive. Tell us in the comments, what's your most cherished bouquet memory? Until next time, keep loving fiercely. Sweet dreams.